Hello, everyone, and welcome to Percent's AI webinar series. My name is Jaden Kerr, a senior software engineer here at Percent, and I'll be your host for the next 8 weeks. Thanks for joining us as we explore the ever-evolving world of AI. In this series, we'll dive into what's possible today, what's coming next, and how to navigate AI responsibly. Each session, we look at real-world use cases, practical frameworks, and expert insights to help you move forward with confidence. Today's session will cover how purpose-built semantic layers can bridge the gap between your data sources and AI-driven insights. We'll explore what is a semantic layer, how it simplifies complex data landscapes, ensures consistency, and accelerates AI adoption. Here's this week's speaker, Andy Painter, Data and AI Practice Director, on his talk, Building Semantic Layers for Intelligent Data Assets. Access. Take it away, Andy.
Thank you very much, Jaden. It's great that everyone's been able to attend, and thank you very much for your time. What I'm going to be presenting today is very much focused around the importance of semantic layers, what they are, how to create them, also asking the question, are you actually ready for AI? And then a summary and Q&A as well. What I'd also say, look, if you've got any questions, there is actually a Q&A chat window that you can put them into. If we've got time for them, I will take some. If not, we will definitely get back with any of the questions that you've got for us. So again, thank you for your time, and let's get started. Okay, without a semantic layer, your AI projects will fail. Only you won't realize it until the damage is done. So look, it's a really bold opening statement that I'm making here. And what we'll do is we'll dig into this a little bit further and really why a semantic layer is really, really important to make sure that your AI projects won't be failing. So let's start with what actually is a semantic layer. Now, I'm going to be referring a lot to Snowflake. So for those of you that know Snowflake, I'm a really, really big fan of Snowflake. We are a partner with Snowflake. It's a really, really great platform for data and analytics, AI collaboration. It also has a really, really strong way of implementing a semantic layer, which they refer to as their semantic views. There are other tools in the marketplace that also let you create semantic layers, but I'm going to focus on Snowflake because it's a really, really good tool to be using for that. So what is a semantic layer? Really, quite simplistically, a semantic layer is the missing bridge between raw data and business insight. So it really enables the business to get at the data without needing to access it directly. And the key thing is, instead of every team creating all of their own definitions of say, revenue margin, churn, and then trying to leave AI to actually decide, the semantic layer really provides that trusted language that everyone can use, whether that's a human or even a bot. And the consistency, it doesn't just help with dashboards, it also makes the AI models very, very reliable because they're really looking at structured, contextualized data that they can actually explain. I think that's a really important word with semantic layers is that we've actually got a really strong idea of it being contextualized data. Also, a great thing with the semantic layer is you've got governance built in, so you can get traceability and trust by design there. So really, this is why I'm calling it the missing piece for AI readiness. So without it, your data might look like it's working, but silently, it's undermining your AI projects. But I guess, the real question is probably why is a semantic layer so important? What are the real benefits that it's bringing? So AI models don't fail because of algorithms. They fail because of the data they're fed. Now, interestingly, I've literally just come across a really, really good research paper that calls out that a semantic layer will actually make AI 3 times more accurate. And that's quite a scientific paper that the authors have put together. So there's a really, really strong benefit to actually putting in place a good semantic layer. So without a semantic layer, your AI models are working, but they're inconsistent, they're noisy, they've got sort of unstructured inputs. So the outputs are probably going to look confusing or misleading. With a semantic layer, we're providing clean, contextual, structured inputs that enforce consistent definitions across all of the AI use cases. So that means faster training, explainability by design, and a unifying foundation that bridges the not just your dashboards, but the AI models as well. So in the end, it's not just all about building AI models. It's also about achieving better ROI and particularly adoption as well. So the theme of this webinar is very much about the semantic layer actually helping increase that adoption. And the adoption is happening because the insights are trusted and actionable. So that's a real good benefit with that. What I wanted to do next, though, is actually just show you some examples of potentially what happens when you don't actually have a semantic layer in place. So let's look at this first example here. And it's a large retailer. They've rolled out an AI model to optimize pricing and promotion. So a fairly common thing for a retailer to want to be doing. The early dashboards looked absolutely fantastic. The sales volumes are up 12%, campaign performance to the roof. Leadership were calling it an absolute success. But here's what they weren't actually seeing. The AI had been trained on inconsistent definitions of margin. So in one system, it was actually gross margin. So there weren't any costs involved with the sale. On another system, it was net margin. So actually where they've put into costs of sale and logistics costs as well. Now, AI models, as I'm sure we're all aware, will always have a go at trying to work out what it thinks is the best thing to do. Now, unfortunately, in this case, it had picked the more looser definitions. So it thought gross margin was the right thing across all of the data it was looking at. And it then went about happily discounting products that looked profitable on paper, but were actually loss-making once you looked at the net margin. So the results, I mean, sales were up, of course. They were selling a lot more products because of the pricing. But profits were actually down, and it took a whole full quarter before the finance team actually caught the gap, by which point millions had been lost. So, is this an AI urban myth, or is it actually a reality we're currently in at the moment? Let's just have another quick look at another example as well. So again, this is someone that hasn't actually implemented a semantic layer. So this is a major health insurer. They were looking at using AI to optimize claims processing and risk scoring as well. So I'm sure you're aware that pricing, again, is quite an important aspect for an insurer's business. And if they get that right, they can actually get a lot more business. Again, the early results look really good with what the AI model was doing. There was faster claims approvals, lower operational costs. The executives were celebrating the efficiency gains. Again, though, what they didn't actually see was that the different systems, the different pieces of data that had been brought into the AI model had actually got a different interpretation of claims. So in one system, it was actually down to the individual line items, so things like individual blood tests and x-rays. In another system, the claim was actually the whole full hospital visit, so the full episode. So quite a big difference between what was claimed in one system and what was in another. Now, as a result, the risk scores looked artificially low. The insurer had set premiums too aggressively. So months later, the losses mounted when the actual payouts exceeded the projections. So pretty bad situation to be in, and the damage was already done. So again, loss of tens of millions there. Now, as I was saying, the AI didn't know that the line items belonged to one hospital visit. It was only sort of seeing them individually and then making its best guess there around that. So without this semantic layer and unifying the definitions, the model really gave the wrong answer, but it gave it with total confidence, which again, we're all pretty aware of what AI does and what it can return back to us. So, this is really, these two examples, exactly why a semantic layer solves and helps us actually drive more adoption as well. But let's have a quick look at actually what a semantic layer is about. So as I say, I'm using and talking about the terms that Snowflake use when they set up their semantic layer through semantic views. But a lot of other products as well that also implement semantic layers will actually use these same terms as well. So at the base of a semantic layer, and within the data, we have this concept of facts. So these are really the sort of individual things within a transaction. So the sale, numbers of things. So we can actually sort of see the facts that we've got there. On top of that, what we do is we use the facts to actually then build out metrics. So these are more of the things that the business are actually looking for, so KPIs. So things like margin, for instance, that might be built from a series of facts. And then finally, what we bring in is dimensions as well. So really the context that the business likes to work in to understand the metrics that they've got. That also allows the AI model to also understand from a business perspective how it sort of understands the metrics and how it interprets them. Now, without these, AI is still going to have numbers, but it just won't have the context. With them, it's got intelligence. So that's why this is a really sort of important aspect there. But let's have a quick look at actually how we go about and build out a semantic model. So what's the process that we're actually going through? And what I'll do again, if we think about our simple example in retail, what do we actually go about and how do we build this out? And I like to think about this around sort of creating your business data model. So a lot of my, previous experience, I've often thought about how a business works in data terms, and this is no different. We're still doing the same sort of thing. So the first step is really to think about some of the core entities that are important to the business. So customers, products, and orders, in this case of the retailer. What we then want to do is we need to understand how they actually relate to each other. So who bought them, what they were buying, and when. So that's really important to understand how our entities are related. From there, we'll also then want to define our metrics. So things like total revenue, margin, and those things that, again, that are KPIs that the business really want to understand how they're doing, and also an AI model would want to use and actually help the business understand what's going on as well. And so we'll have those dimensions, and we can use those. The AI model can use those to sort of slice and dice up. So that's really the foundation for a semantic layer. So again, we're trying to make it modeled, contextual view of the data that both your business can use, so whether that's through BI tools or analytics, but also the AI can use confidently as well. So that's sort of the conceptual model of how we go about that and what we would need to do to actually define it. What we next need to do, though, is really actually make that physical. And so this is really very much where the rubber meets the road. I mean, as we're talking about really with the semantic layers and really trying to understand the structured data that we have in the business, that's really what we've got to get to. Now, hopefully, you won't be like this person trying to peer off well into the distance to try and uncover where your physical data actually is. Hopefully, you've already got a really good data platform that's been really, really well modeled. Now, I've thrown in one of my favorites here. I'm a big fan of Ralph Kimball and dimensional modeling. Interestingly, what we're talking about with semantic layers is a pretty good one-to-one match with what Kimball was talking about when he's been describing and talking about dimensional modeling. And that concept of Kimball's is around having star schemas. You'll find that star schemas will map almost one-to-one into a semantic layer. And again, if you've been architecting your data platforms correctly, you'll probably have a really, really nice medallion architecture. And hopefully in that gold layer, you've been using Kimball's dimensional modeling techniques, and you'll have created some nice star schemas. Again, that's going to make your job really, really easy to actually build out a semantic layer on top of that. Of course, if you haven't done that, then there's probably going to be work that'll be required, but we'll get to that in a second. So once you've discovered actually the tables that contain the data that you're interested in, what you're going to need to do is understand how you're actually going to join these tables together. And that will then need to be built into how the semantic layer understands those joins. Then what you'll do is you'll actually work out and define the calculations that you need. So revenue, margin, churn in the case of our retail example there. And that will ensure then that the formulas and the calculations that you've got are consistent sort of everywhere that they're being used. What I wanted to do is then actually show you what that may look like in practice. So again, I'm using Snowflake, and this is actually using a part of the Snowflake platform called Cortex Analyst. And it is simplistic in what it's doing, but what we're actually seeing there is over on the left, you can see the semantic model that I've created. Snowflake calls it a semantic view. So I've created a semantic view there. On the right-hand side of the screen, a business user there is actually able to just to simply type a question in. So in this example, what they're putting in is show me the top selling brands in Texas in the books category in 2003. So what Snowflake and Cortex Analyst is doing under the scenes is actually turning that into SQL. So you can see there in this demo screenshot, it's actually turning that question into underlying SQL, and it's able to do that because it has the semantic layer there to actually understand the context of the question that's being asked and be able to then build the SQL. So quite powerful. Now, I know this is probably quite a simplistic example. It's using an interface that a user's typing in a natural language question. But the point here is this is exactly what an AI model will be doing underneath the hood. So it's doing exactly the same thing. So whether it's a chatbot, a virtual assistant, or one of the many flavors of AI models, it's all really, again, relying upon the same thing. So if it's got consistent structured data, contextual data in the semantic layer, it's able to then get at the answers. Now, the thing with AI, it's going to be doing a lot faster than users. So again, it's another powerful feature of having a good semantic layer in place, that it can actually keep up with what the AI model will be asking from it. Okay, so this is, as I say, again, simplistic example, but hopefully you get the idea of how we can then actually use a semantic layer to interact with our data underneath this, and in turn, what an AI model will be also doing as well. Now, there is a catch with all of this, and I sort of alluded to that a little bit when we were talking about how to actually make a semantic layer sort of physical. So I do want to talk about some of the key components that you will need to have in place to actually allow you to build a semantic layer. So, prerequisites that you really want to have in place. First of all, the data has to be clean and well formatted. Otherwise, you're just going to put really a shiny wrapper around bad input. So there's no different here from, I'm sure, what you've heard in the past around bad data in equals bad data, bad results out. And exactly the same thing with an AI model. Only to some extent, the AI model will actually magnify probably the issues that you'll find already in your data. So data quality is still a key part of making sure that we've got the prerequisites in place to actually build out a good semantic layer. You're going to need to have unified access to data as well. And so this is why I like the power of Snowflake. It allows us to bring a lot of different types of data together in one place and then actually build an enterprise semantic layer over the top of that. So single platform, ideally bringing all the data together so you're not having to sift through lots and lots of different silos of data. And if you remember some of the examples I was showing where problems happen when you don't have a semantic layer in place, they were really sort of fishing around with different silos of data, so getting inconsistent definitions of metrics that were really important for that AI model. Now, thirdly, you're going to want to make sure that you've got business definitions that are clear. And again, I know I'm saying this as a rather sort of throwaway comment, and the years that I've been in the industry, I know that getting a business to agree on definitions can actually be difficult to do. So I'm not underestimating how difficult sometimes this can be to actually get there, but you've got to have good business definitions in place to allow you to build out that semantic layer. Now, without that, the AI models will, again, they'll drift, and they're not going to get you the right results. So again, reiterate, it is going to be a level of effort to get that done, but once you've got that done, great, all good. Now, again, you may have already done this as part of your data platform, analytics, BI, data warehousing projects in the past, and you may have already got that built up, potentially in a data catalog somewhere. So you may already have those, which would be a good thing. Governance and security are essential, because again, if you fall down on this, people aren't going to trust what they're seeing. They'll find another way around it. They'll probably be generating their own incorrect results doing that. So we've got to make sure that what we're doing gives us that really good, strong security and governance, which Snowflake does as a platform. And it's clearly got to scale as well. So the semantic layer that you create on top of your data, you've got to make sure that the underlying platform, even the semantic layer that you created, is actually going to scale. Because again, if you're hitting it with AI models, they're going to be pretty sort of smashing the system there and really pushing it to its limit. So making sure the underlying platform again can scale. And it's also got to be integrating seamlessly into whatever tools people are bringing. And that is another benefit of having an enterprise-defined semantic layer, is you can sort of plug and play in different tools that you may have, whether that's business intelligence tools, Power BI, Tableau, whether it's AI models, whether it's even some of the newer analytics tools like Omni, for instance. The semantic layer will actually help you plug into all those tools and make use of it. So when all of these elements come together, the semantic layer, it isn't just a nice to have, it does become a really core backbone of your data and AI strategy. But here's the reality. Most organizations aren't there yet. And I still see this. As I say, I've been in the industry a long time. I've built lots and lots of data platforms over the years. And I'm still sort of, I guess, puzzled to some extent that a lot of these things actually still aren't in place. Now, they do need to be in place, because it's obviously you don't want to build on top of something, a foundation that isn't really good. So that's very much where we can help as well, not just with helping you build out your semantic layers, but actually making sure that your platform underneath is fit for purpose for that. One of the things, as I draw to a close on this, one of the things that I would like to talk about, and I guess put on the table for you, is we have an offering around AI readiness assessment. So it's basically a 4-week focused engagement. So it's designed very much to cut through the noise and give you a clear view that you're actually ready for AI. And this is sort of helping you answer that question, am I ready for AI? And what we'll look to do really with this is to help you sort of assess your data foundations. Again, you'll have heard me talk about the importance of those data foundations, and also run an AI proof of concept, so you can actually see what's going on, what the semantic layer would look like, how that all works together. So what we look to do is then leave you with a good scorecard of how ready you are or not, roadmap to help you move forward. And that should give you then a lot of confidence with what you're going to be doing with AI. And for you, this really could be the difference between talking about AI and actually putting it into production and getting your business some really, really good wins. So look, if you are serious about AI, this definitely is a good place to start with it as well, and it'll incorporate a lot of the things that you're going to be hearing about over the coming weeks on our AI seminar. So thank you very much for your time and attention today. I'll just summarize what we've looked at. So we've covered off really what the business challenge is around not having a semantic layer, why they matter, how they work in practice, how Versant can actually help you get there with our AI readiness assessment. And really, that's the fastest way to see where you stand and to make AI real in your organization. So what I wanted to do is really just leave you with one thing. So if all you remember from today, it is going to be this: AI doesn't fail because of the algorithms, it fails because of the data. So without a semantic layer, your models are guessing on inconsistent, fragmented inputs. And those failures often go unnoticed until it's too late. But with the semantic layer, you're going to build trust, explainability, and scale into your AI from day one. And really, that's why at Versant, we believe our AI readiness assessment is a really good way to move forward. So look, we'd love to help you make your journey real and successful. So with that, I will hand over back to Jaden to see whether we've got time for questions. Otherwise, we'll look to answer the questions later on.
Great. Thank you, Andy, and thanks for joining today's session. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to Andy. We don't have any at the chat at this point in time. So who is Versant if you're joining us for the first time? Versant is a leading Australian consultancy specializing in data and AI along cloud, digital, and identity. We're known for our deep technical craft, outcome-focused delivery, and our partnerships with AWS and Microsoft. With over 1,000 people across Australia, we work with some of the country's most recognized brands and government agencies to architect, build, and run modern technology solutions. If you're interested in working with us, you can scan the QR code on the screen or reach out to us at ai@versent.com.au to book in your workshop. If you have any questions or follow-ups about today's excellent session, you can reach out directly to Andy with his email at the bottom of the screen. So what's next in this series? We have 7 weeks to go. Next week, week 4, the 4th of September, our speaker, Lachlan Wright, Microsoft Practice Director, on his talk, Enterprise Ready Agentic AI. In other upcoming sessions, we'll dive into topics like AI-powered customer experience, Gen AI use cases in healthcare and operations, and how to build secure, scalable AI systems. So keep an eye out on your inbox for your next invite. Thanks again for being part of the Versant AI webinar series. We look forward to helping you unlock the full potential of AI safely, ethically, and with impact. Hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time. Thanks all.